Friendship is a black comedy written and directed by Andrew DeYoung of TV's Would It Kill You to Laugh fame in his feature film directorial and screenwriting debut. We're in a cancer support group where we meet Tammy, played by Kate Mara of TV's House of Cards fame, as she recounts her struggles with her life while being in remission, especially with her unbearably socially awkward and oblivious husband, Craig, played by Tim Robinson of I Think You Should Leave fame. Back home, and we see that the pair are preparing to sell the family home. Soon, Craig drops off a parcel to his new neighbour, the quirky and affable meteorologist, Austin, played by Paul Rudd of I Love You Man fame, where the pair hit it off, and wackiness ensues. Reportedly, writer and director Andrew DeYoung was inspired by his own experience of getting iced out of a friend group. The role of Craig was written specifically for Tim Robinson. The movie was shot in Yonkers and went on to premiere at the Toronto International Film Festival, where it went on to receive positive reviews from critics who praised DeYoung's direction and screenplay, as well as its lead performances of Robinson and Rudd. The movie has gained a Rotten Tomatoes rating of 88%, with the critical consensus stating Tim Robinson expands his exquisitely painful cringe comedy style to feature length with seamless results in Friendship, a toxic bromance that'll make audiences laugh and wince in equal measure. The movie has made a worldwide box office total of $16.2 million. So Marisa, what did you think of Friendship?
Yeah, awkward cringe comedy is not my alley. It's not my neighborhood. It is not my world. It is something that you either really, really love and really get into and really enjoy, in which case you will love this. I think this will be polarizing because either you'll love this or you will watch it and find it so uncomfortable and so depressing, which is how I found it, that you won't enjoy it much at all. I'm not familiar with Tim Robinson's work, so I don't know if this is a sort of character that he plays often. He really embodies it. He really does a great job here playing this socially awkward, very strange man trying to make friends as an adult. And we all know that that's hard. That is hard, making friends as an adult, particularly when you're an awkward person and so work colleagues don't like him. So it's really hard for him. And so when he has somebody who opens their world to him, he latches on in a very unhealthy way. His relationship with his wife is so strange. Their whole family dynamic is very weird and unusual and possibly, again, supposed to be funny, but I found it uncomfortable. My concern is that his awkwardness and behaviour borders on a potential mental unwellness, a mental illness of some kind. And so I watched this feeling so bad that we were laughing at somebody who potentially has mental health issues. So I found this very unfunny in that way. I certainly didn't hear other people laughing much.
Well, you're such a lovely person, Marisa, because I didn't give a damn.
Well, I just was like, oh my God, this poor guy, like he could actually just have something not quite right with him that he's clearly not medicated or supported for. And had he had some kind of support, he might be much better.
There's an idea that obviously this wasn't one event that set him off. He's had a difficult life all the way up to this. There's even a joke in here that I didn't pick up when I was first watching it. You know, he buys a set of drums that are obviously green and he says, yeah, I bought them because they're the same color as your guitar to Paul Rudd's character, and his guitar is red. And so he's got color blindness. Yeah. He's awkward looking. Like you said, he doesn't have any friends at work and he doesn't have any friends at all. And his wife, who's just survived cancer, who's obviously having a look at her own life and especially her marriage with this particular fellow because she struck up a friendship with an ex. Things aren't right in his world. And it's all extremely unfortunate. So you're right. As soon as he sees someone like Paul Rudd, who shows him affection and invites him into his world and into a world of other friends, like an avenue to other potential friends, and then having that shut off. That's horrible. The thing about this movie, I thought this was going to be a look at male relationships and male friendships, especially adult male friendships, because there's a lot in the media in the last couple of years, especially coming out of COVID, the idea that men in particular have a very hard time making friends when they're adults. Because stereotypically, men hold on to their high school group, their football friends or their basketball friends or whatever, and that's it, they're set. But if they move to different areas and whatnot, they become hermits. They go into their sheds and that's it, and reminisce about the good old days. And so men, if they're not camping or drinking, they're not really making those other connections. And so, for example, I Love You Man with Paul Rudd and also Jason Segel, that's one of my favorite comedies because it shows the awkwardness between two adult men trying to strike up a friendship and not making it weird. And so I was expecting this to be the inverse of that, but it's not really a two-hander. It's really Tim Robinson. I mean, Paul Rudd's here, but we never really get into Paul Rudd's character's life without Tim around. We don't even really learn about his wife and his household and his relationship. It's all the Tim Robinson's character. It reminded me again also of The Cable Guy, Matthew Broderick and Jim Carrey. That was Jim Carrey's first, put it in quotes because it's still got a big box office, but first flop, because he was going against his feel-good comedy character at the time. He played this really cringy and awkward and almost comically villainous character, and the whole movie was really uneasy. But again, that was a two-hander because we got to see a lot of Jim and a lot of Matthew Broderick, but here it's Tim Robinson all the way.
It's the Tim show.
Yeah.
In his brown clothes, his exclusively brown clothes. They're astonishing.
I didn't even pick that up, but there you go.
Oh my God. He wears one blue shirt, but the rest of it is all the same. And they talk about his clothes and stuff because there's only one brand that he can wear and it's some very, very strange brand. It's part of his thing is that he just looks out of place as well.
Yeah. The way he stands, his baggy clothes, and you're right, they are brown.
They're all brown.
And blue doesn't really go with brown all that well.
No.
I saw one episode of his TV program and it was cringy and it was awful to watch, but it was humorous because you couldn't help but nervously laugh at it. But I could only watch one episode. But cringe comedy isn't new. Fawlty Towers, way back in the day, only had 11 episodes. And it feels like it went forever because it's so uncomfortable. And the original The Office with Ricky Gervais, that was cringe comedy. And I think they only had 2 seasons and a couple of Christmas specials.
Yes. I couldn't watch The Office for the same reason because I felt bad for them.
No, it's awful. And you do feel bad for the Ricky Gervais character at points because he is so unlikable. So it's interesting how they flipped that for the American TV series, and that went on for way too many seasons. So cringe comedy, it's a particular taste, and if it's not yours, this will be excruciating.
I will say that story-wise, I didn't know where it was going to go. I was never bored. It was certainly still interesting to watch, but I certainly didn't find it funny. And certainly a lot of it I found very upsetting almost. I was just, I'm too empathetic, I think.
You are. It reminds me of when we reviewed that movie with Hugh Grant and Meryl Streep.
Oh, yeah.
Where Meryl was playing the opera singer.
Oh, yes. I felt awful.
Who couldn't sing very well. You felt awful because you didn't enjoy laughing at her. But like I said back in the day, we were laughing at the situation because Hugh Grant was doing so much legwork to create this environment so his loved one could follow through with the passion. So I think there's a technicality there where we weren't laughing at her. We were laughing at the situation around her.
But here,
we're not really laughing. We're wincing. We're grimacing. And also, like in the In-Betweeners movies, we're almost wincing and feeling uncomfortable because we see ourselves sometimes in these characters. On the one hand, we can go, oh my gosh, I've had a friendship or a relationship like this where I've had to cut ties with someone. But the real horror is when you start thinking, oh no, maybe I was like Tim Robinson in some cases. And then you think, oh God, and you cringe. You remember that party where you rocked up and you're the only one in fancy dress and everybody else was normal. You think, whoa, what happened?
Well, you got to turn up in fancy dress when no one else is and behave like Legally Blonde. It's Elle Woods. She goes, fine. She just rolls with it and goes with it because she's amazing. But yes, Craig Waterman, this character here, I just felt bad for him. And so I didn't find it funny. I just found it very, unsettling and upsetting. I mean, he plays this role to the T. I think, if you get his humor and you're okay to laugh at people, and a lot of people are, and it's clearly a genre of comedy and it's legit and stuff, I think you'll have a really great time with this. But if that's not your bag, you're going to find this really dark and hard, which I did.
It's a beautiful production, though. I mean, it's filmed really well. There's a lot of good earthy hues in here. It's shot like a thriller, really dark, to the point from the trailer I thought this was going to be a quirky horror movie. We don't get that dark, but everything about it is uneasy.
It nearly did. The mushroom foraging worried me for a while.
Oh, we won't touch that. But also, just to start a movie in a cancer remission help group, that sets a tone, doesn't it?
But you could make that funny. Fight Club made that funny.
Wow, yeah. And that was a bomb back in the day as well.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Maybe this will get a bit of a cult following.
Yeah, probably. I think it will. I think there'll be people who really get it and love it and think it's amazing. It's just not I can't not feel bad. I feel bad. I don't laugh at people. I feel bad for them. And I just... Maybe I do see too much of myself in him, although I would never dress like that. Bless.
No. Oh. So, Marisa, how many toupees out of 5 are you going to give Friendship?
Oh, yeah. Look, I think I'll give it 2. It's not completely awful. As I said, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know where it's going to go. The performances are pretty good. It's just not my cup of tea. Yeah.
I'm a bit disappointed that this was solely through the eyes of one particular character. I thought this was going to be making a commentary on adult male relationships, and it was going to be a little bit more of a wider viewpoint. But that being said, I was sinking in my seat a lot. It affected me quite obviously. I didn't know where it was going to go. From the trailer, I thought this was going to be an A24 horror comedy. And in a certain way, it was quite horrible, but very strong. And I think if you do like this Tim Robinson, this is going to be his call to arms for future movies. But if you don't enjoy cringe comedy, you won't enjoy this. But I think for what it's going for, it's extremely strong. So 3.5 toupees out of 5 for me. And that's about it from us at the Movie Club. Thank you very much for joining us once again. Make sure you tune in at the same time and channel next week. But in the meantime, jump on to www.themovieclub.net for all of our last podcasts and written reviews. There you find links to our Facebook page, Twitter, and Spotify account. So make sure you like, subscribe, and follow us there.
See you next week.